This lesson we will teach you the most common greetings, Swahili greetings, and also how to introduce yourself. So after this lesson, you should be able to greet each other and introduce yourselves or ask other people who they are.
Yeah. So in Swahili, there are actually many different ways of greetings, but the most common ones that you will hear in our daily life are the four. The first one is shikamo, the second is habari, the third hujambo, and the fourth is mambo or vipi, or actually combined mambo vipi.
We put this into actually this scale, like in this row, because it is also kind of a hierarchy system here. Shikamo, for example, is the most polite greeting you can give, but only to elderly people, like people who are older than you. You cannot greet a child with shikamo. Shikamo comes from the Arabic language, actually, and the meaning of shikamo is, Yana, do you know that?
Yeah, it's something like I'm touching your feet, or
Exactly. So like
yeah,
I'm touching.
it's a bit strange for us, yeah.
Yes. So it really means I touch your feet, and the elder person is then replying marahaba, which means I am delighted, or it can also mean from the Arabic language like merhaba, which means welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I am older than Adelina, so she should greet me actually with, just laugh about me, it makes so much fun. I want to hear it.
All right, now we're just making an example, but she doesn't really deserve shikamo from me, so we just say, I will assume she is my mom, so I'll say shikamo mama.
Marahaba mtoto wangu.
Yeah. So actually with shikamo, if you just say shikamo, it's not as polite or as respectful as it is required to be. So usually to be more polite or more respectful, you have to specify who you are greeting with shikamo. If it's a man, who could be around the same age as your dad or your parent, you say shikamo baba. So if I say shikamo baba, the response will be
Marahaba. Or like old men like to say marahaba. They have like this sing sign. So,
yeah. Or shikamo mama.
and the reply is the same, marahaba.
Yeah, but also this shikamo can be used to greet, for example, in the classroom or something when students, when students are greeting are greeting the teacher, they can say shikamo mwalim,
Which means shikamo teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher again will reply marahaba. So you see the greeting, like greeting another person is always with shikamo, and then you just decide how you approach that person. For example, you can say marahaba as that, or is it a doctor? You can also say daktari, depending.
Mm-hmm.
And the reply of that person is always the same, and it is marahaba. Then we come to the second greeting, which is habari. Actually, habari is a noun, and its meaning is news. So if I ask you habari, it actually means, do you have any news? Which is, in our language, we don't have this kind of greeting. We would rather translate it in like, how are you, or how are things? So, and with habari, it is actually the formal way of greeting. For example, Adelina and me, we have just met each other. We don't know if someone is older or like we are at the same age. There's not really a need of really greeting someone, like insisting of being greeted with shikamo.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with habari, you can never be wrong, actually. So if you go to someone, so I meet Adelina, even if I don't know her, I can greet her with habari and I cannot be impolite at all, because it's the most formal way like of greeting here. So when I come and I see Adelina and I want to greet her, I tell her habari.
Mm-hmm. And then I will answer nzuri or salama or njema. So there are three possibilities of responding to habari.
Yes. And it depends, for example, in Tanzania, it depends on which region you actually stay. There are some regions, they always reply with salama, for example. And some regions, they are used to use nzuri. And some other people, they say njema. So there's actually, yeah, there's no, how do you say?
There's no specific way
Yes.
of responding to habari. You can use any of the three. So I think habari, as Miriam was saying, it's really a formal way of greeting. It's the most polite way of greeting among the same age, people of the same age.
And with habari also, you see that we wrote you nzuri, njema, or salama. There you can see, and it means good, nice, or peaceful. It's not written mbaya, for example, which means bad. You will never reply to a person that you are bad. So, because it's kind of impolite. I think it's like even in culture. Because, for example, if you don't know a person that well, you won't tell the person, hey, sorry, I'm bad, I'm not doing well. So, and that's the same here in Tanzania as well, really language as well. Because if you tell a person you are bad, then this person definitely has to ask you why. And then you actually tell that person about your problem, which is kind of like a little bit impolite if you're not really close to that person. So, and even mbaya, if you tell a person mbaya, you're bad, then it's really, you must be in a very bad situation. Usually you say you are not so well. So you are kind of like.
Yeah, normally you can hear people say nzuri kidogo.
Yes, or si mbaya sana, not that bad. So.
Yeah. Okay, do you have any question until there?
No, thanks.
Good. So we go to the next.
With habari, actually, you can use it in different meanings, like different times of the day or asking about people's well-being. For example, if you use habari za asubuhi, which means news of the morning. In English, it would be how are you in the morning or just good morning. So, or you can also ask habari za mchana, which means good afternoon, like any news from the afternoon during the day. So, but you can also ask about your family. So, how's the family? Which means habari za familia. So, habari is actually a very good greeting where you can ask other people's well-being, and actually you can ask everything about safari, about work, about how was the weekend. So, how was the call with your mom? So, but the response is always the same. It is always nzuri and it's always njema or salama. So it always stays the same. But when you're here in Tanzania, that made me, for example, like I was confused because I heard so often za kwako, za asubuhi. I never heard habari.
Or just habari itself separately.
Yes. But sometimes really you go to someone in the morning and you just hear za asubuhi, and I was like, what does it mean? So just morning. Some people skip the habari. So you see here, for example, we put here an example where it's listed habari za asubuhi, and people are just asking za asubuhi. You can see that, right? Even if you hear only za asubuhi, the reply is always the same. Nzuri, njema, or salama.
And also za mchana, za usiku, za kazi. For example, if we go home right now, the people, our family members we meet at home say, oh, how was work? They can just ask za habari za kazi, or they can say za kazi, and we'll respond the same way, nzuri, salama, or njema. Right, then we go to the next greeting, which is Jambo. Jambo as itself, it's used, but it's used more among the people of the same age, but it's most commonly used in Kenya. But in Tanzania, Jambo is mostly used like hujambo, which is when an older person is greeting a younger person. So for example, Miriam is younger than me. I say, Miriam, hujambo.
Si jambo.
And then she has to greet me properly because I'm an older person.
She's not, she's just pretending. Shikamo dada.
Marahaba. So we go back to the first greeting. So when the older person greets you first, you have to respond and then greet properly. Because this is also because of the hierarchy here. To be respectful and polite, the younger person should always greet the older person. And if the older person greets first, you have to greet back respectfully.
And actually the greeting here in Tanzania is like, it's like a ping pong tennis game. So it's not like, for example, in Europe, you say, hey, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? Fine. And that's it. You just go. Or you just say, good morning, and you leave. But here, you follow the hierarchies. So it means I am greeting my older sister, Shikamo dada, and she is replying, Shikamo dada.
Marahaba.
And then,
Hujambo.
Si jambo. Habari za asubuhi.
Salama.
So you see, it's going up and down. So, and sometimes it can happen that you have like 3, 4, 5 greetings in a row until you actually come to the point introducing yourself or asking what you want or starting to tell a story or to talk about some things. So, but it's never only one greeting.
Yes.
Hujambo actually means in our context, are you fine? Well, when you really want to translate it, it means like you're not having any issues and in a negative way. So the best way to translate it is actually, are you fine? And si jambo means I am fine.
Yeah, and then it can also be used for more than one person. For example, a teacher, for example, goes to the classroom and then says because the students are already sitting in the classroom and the teacher is coming in, for example, and then he has to greet like hamjambo, and then students will answer
Hatujambo, shikamoo mwalimu.
marahaba. Yeah, that's an example. So in plural, it's hamjambo, and the response is hatujambo.
But also, for example, Yana, when we are talking to each other. So I can also ask you, for example, mume wako hajambo? Your husband, is he fine? What will be the reply to that?
Hajambo. So, but I'm not quite sure what comes before.
Hajambo, is he fine?
So,
and the reply back is also hajambo.
Hajambo, just yet.
Yeah. Then we can ask, for example, Samira, mayako hajambo?
Sorry. Can you repeat it, please? I didn't understand it.
For example, we ask you, mama yako hajambo?
It's a long time ago. I'm not sure. I think of course, it's the jambo again. And before it's also the ha jambo, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you will just respond hajambo.
Jambo.
Yeah. So it's like, is your mom fine? And then you answer, if she's fine.
Catherine, you are the one who hasn't been to Tanzania before, and I think you didn't really get exposed to that language. Do you have any questions so far?
No, it's all right at the moment. Thank you.
So now we come actually to the most common greeting which you hear every day on the streets, especially between youth. So it is actually a greeting I was not allowed to use when I came here the first time. So like 12 years ago, when I stayed with a host family and my host brothers and sisters were greeting each other with Mambo, my host parents were not really happy about that because at that time it was not really the proper way of greeting. They said it's a slang and it's street language. But the people got so used to this greeting, which you hear everywhere and like almost every time. Jambo is more often in Kenya, while here in Tanzania, really more people greet now each other, especially when they're at the same age, with Mambo. So, and Mambo, you can say means like, what's up? So how are things going? Hey, what's up? So Mambo, Adelina.
Poa.
Poa means cool. So, or you can also ask Mambo vipi. And the reply is also the same for, but you can also say safi, which means clean, or sawa, which means fine.
Shwanga, Shwali.
So,
Shwanga.
Shwanga?
Some people actually use that.
Shwanga, yeah.
But you'll hear that mostly like really only on the streets.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes. So in Latini, they often said it because it's so funny for German people to say Schwanger. So it means pregnant. So they told us. Yeah.
Yeah. And now this greeting is actually getting more common. Yes. For example, if I go to my hometown, I would really rarely hear such greeting. In the villages, people are more respectful. They prefer to use more respectful greetings. But in towns, especially on the streets, that's where you will hear mostly Mambo, VP, and such. Yeah. And these greetings can actually, like the greetings we have been through, Shikamo, Habari, Jambo, Mambo, can be used during any time of the day. However, with Habari, we've seen that you can be more specific when you are greeting with Habari, either in terms of time. You can say Habari za asubuhi, za mchana, jioni, Habari za usiku. When it comes to Shikamo, it's just Shikamo. It doesn't matter any time of the day. And Jambo and Mambo is the same, and VP. You just say it during any time of the day.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Is it forbidden to greet older people with Mambo or VP?
You shouldn't do it. It's not forbidden, but it's impolite.
Yeah.
It's really not the proper. As a foreigner, they won't get angry with you, really, because they know that you start learning a language and so on, and maybe they understand that you maybe don't know, I would say, like the rules of the greetings, but you should really avoid greeting some, like older people with Mambo. If an older person is greeting you back with Mambo, then it's fine, but you shouldn't go to an older man and say Mambo Babu. It's not appropriate.
Yeah. However, you can always see also when they respond. For example, if you say Mambo, they won't really be angry, like Miriam was saying, because they know that you are a guest here and you're still learning. But if you greet an older person with Mambo, the way they respond is very different from when you greet them with Shikamo. And in most cases, for example, if you're in a project or if you're on the street and you greet Shikamo, instead of saying Marahaba, they really respond in a very positive and happy and enthusiastic way, like Marahaba, and they will even like smile
Yes.
at you because they feel that you really respect the culture and the people, and you
Yes.
really want to learn and behave appropriately like a local person.
If you go to an older person and you tell an older person Mambo, it can even be that the person is not replying at all. It can really happen that maybe the person really doesn't reply, or even that person says marahaba instead.
Yeah, especially
So-
for
So Mambo, as we said, you shouldn't greet older people with Mambo, actually. No.
any other question maybe?
Then to the greetings, there are also some like goodbye phrases, which yeah, many people usually use here. For example, in the evening when you say goodbye, for example, I went to Adelina's home and I've stayed there in the evening, we had dinner together and so on, and then I'm leaving. Then we usually say goodbye to each other using usiku mwema, which means good night. Or you can also say,
Lala salama.
which means sleep well. Usingizi mwema, in some regions they use it, but not that often. So lala salama is more common. So if it's not night, if it's like only in the evening, then you can say joli njema.
Yeah, and sometimes for people that you are very familiar with, you can use lala unono. A few people use that, yeah. Or, for example, like the same, we can use the same example Miriam gave. For example, if she's going back to her home now, then I will tell her, Wende salama.
Go with peace.
Yeah.
So also, like if it's only just during the day, you can also say siku njema, have a nice day. So these are also common phrases to say goodbye or just bye. Some people they just say bye.
Bye is English, but
But
we
they use
just
it.
yeah, we borrowed it. We just use it like say bye and it's nice. Yeah. So Swahili people, or we Tanzanians, we really enjoy long conversations. So sometimes if I meet the person I know, we will take a long time to discuss different things. So it doesn't just end in the greeting, it really gets a bit more personal. And that's not only if you meet people you know. For example, for guests, it's always the same. Maybe you're just walking along the main street in Moshi, and then some guys meet you on the street and they say, oh, hi, what's your name? Then you introduce yourselves, and of course they will ask, where do you come from? And then sometimes it really goes to the place where you feel like, wow, this is really getting too personal. For example, someone can ask you, oh, are you single? Are you married? And such. So it's really like a long conversation that people enjoy, and they really do this in daily life when they meet each other, even when they meet people that they are unfamiliar with.
And even the greetings, it's like sometimes you call a person and you are in a hurry. For example, it happens to me. I'm used to be very shortcut sometimes. So hi, okay, can you do this and this and this? And that's impolite here. So here it's really like you greet the person and the person is greeting back, asking you how is your brother? My brother is fine. So how was your week? And sometimes it can be really a little bit difficult for us because we are not used to it, to these long greetings. Like it's really like kind of playing table tennis. Like I kick one ball to you, one greeting, you kick it back to me with another one, and so on. So, but this is really, really common.
Yeah.
So,
culture here.
yes. We would like to use some of these greetings together. So you have the script as well. We have sent it to you. Maybe you can use it also as well. Otherwise, we can also go back where you see the other greetings on one sheet. So, and we can maybe greet each other if you would like. So if everybody of you switches on the microphones, then we can do some exercises in greeting each other. What do you think?
Yeah, that's great.
We can try it.
Habari, Samira.
Nzuri, I don't know. Jambo, is that okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Fine. Si Jambo. Shikamoo dada.
Marahaba. Jambo.
Jambo, asante.
Karibu.
Jana, habari yako?
Salama na habari za familia.
Nzuri, tunashukuru. Catherine, mambo?
Poa?
Yeah.
Asante sana. If you want to practice more, you can say and we will answer. You can start with Samira.
I can also say shikamoo dada.
Marahaba.
Marahaba. Jambo.
Is it still me? Si Jambo.
Yeah.
Very good. Jana, shikamoo.
Marahaba. Mambo vipi?
Habari za jioni.
Salama. Habari za kazi.
Nzuri tu.
Catherine, habari.
Nzuri. Habari za Ghana?
Salama. Asante. That was good. So we'll proceed unless if anybody has a question.
Okay.
Should we proceed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we gave you some additional vocabularies, which are very common and which you will also need at the beginning. For example, there's hodi. Hodi is a request for permission to enter a house or a room, like to get somewhere in. So before you enter, you actually say all the time hodi, hodi, until the person is replying
Karibu.
and then you enter. And when you enter, then you reply asante.
And sometimes the reply could be karibu ndani.
Welcome inside, so you can enter inside. So a goodbye in Swahili actually means kwaheri, but also some people, they say tutaonana baadaye, like see you later or see us again.
And then sometimes instead of tutaonana baadaye, they just use baadaye,
Which means later.
until later. Yeah. And then we have just a few nouns. There you can see mwanafunzi, the student. Wanafunzi is the plural of mwanafunzi, which means students. Second is mwalimu, means a teacher, and walimu is the plural of it. Of course, we have saa, which means clock, but also it can mean time, which is the same in plural. And then we have chati, the chart, or jedwali. Actually, this one could also mean a table. For example, we have been drawing or inserting a few tables with different examples. So in Swahili, a table which it's not a table as
Table on a Word document, for example.
yeah. So
Drawing a
that's
table.
what it means. Yeah, and then habari.
About news or how are you?
So you see that with nouns we have put both singular form and plural form. So you can learn these nouns as we are learning.
You should always, if you learn a noun in Swahili, you should always make sure that you get the singular and the plural version. So in other lessons to come, you will know why, because the nouns, they fall in different noun classes. So, and they are depending on the singular and the plural version usually. So whenever you learn a noun, make sure that you learn it in singular and plural. So we just leave these words for you. Then we gave you some commonly used respectful terms, like respectful words, which are really, really important, actually. Even in daily life, you will need them very often. Samahani, for example. Samahani means excuse me. So you can use samahani in order to say, excuse me, can you please explain me this and this? Or excuse me, I would like to have. Then you always start approaching the person with samahani, ninaomba, I am asking for example. But also samahani is asking for forgiveness. So, for example, I wronged Adelina, and then I say, oh, samahani, I'm sorry, like really please forgive me. So, and then you can say, okay, bila samahani, there is no excuse, or it's not necessary to ask for forgiveness, for example.
And then the next word, tafadhali, is also a very important word, and it's used almost every day in different situations. For example, tafadhali, you can use if you are asking for something. For example, I want to ask Miriam to help me with something. Then say, Miriam, can you help me with this? Tafadhali. Miriam, naomba nisaidie, tafadhali. Yeah.
Pole is sorry, but it is not really sorry. Jana, do you, or Samira, do you remember what pole really means, or when you use it?
It's just to say that you're very, so yeah, I don't know how to say. It's not the sorry we know here. It's more than I'm sorry that this happened to you. So it's not as excuse. It's more yeah, I feel with you, like this.
Yes, exactly. It means I feel with you. I show empathy with you. So
Yeah.
it happened, for example, Adelina and me, we are coming back home from work. And our family, they will greet us and then they will tell us pole, which means we are sorry that you are tired from your work because we have worked the whole day. So they feel with us how tired we might be now. So, and there's actually, you can even say pole sana, which means very sorry. But actually, pole sana you only use in very severe situations. For example, when someone passed away, then it means more like my sympathy, so for your loss. Or if someone is severely sick, maybe admitted at the hospital and it really doesn't look good, and then you can tell the relatives or the patient himself, herself, like pole sana. But this is really in very severe cases. Otherwise, you just say pole, even when you sneeze. Pole. So
yeah, it's really used a lot, like in every situation. Or you're just walking around and someone says, oh, the sun is shining, and then someone just say pole.
Or today it's raining and they tell you pole.
Because you're walking on the rain. Yeah, and another word is asante.
Thank you or thanks, which you have to reply on almost everything. For example, if someone said to you pole, you say asante. Karibu, asante.
And if you say asante, for most of the cases, the reply to that is karibu. Yeah.
Or they also say asante, like thank you for thanking me. This cannot.
Yeah.
So, hongera. Hongera is a very common word when you want to congratulate someone. So, and it means congratulations. So whenever there's something to congratulate someone, to say, hey, well done, you say hongera.
Yeah. Shukrani is used, but not as often as asante.
But, for example, when you go to Zanzibar, most Zanzibaris that really say shukran, and that's because it comes from the Arabic language as well. And in Zanzibar, many people refer more to the Arabic language than like to the Bantu language.
That's true, because also in the coast, the regions on the coast, there are more Swahili people. So their first language is actually Kiswahili, while the other regions in the mainland, they have their own traditional or tribal languages, and Swahili is the second language. So if even the accent in those Swahili regions is a little bit different from the mainland of Tanzania and other regions.
Then we have some exercise coming for you, so which we would like you to do, it's kind of a homework. So you can do that at home, and you can send it back to us through email if you like, or we will discuss definitely the answers to it in our next lesson. So before we start the next lesson next week, then we will go through the exercises and see if you did it well. But if you also want to send it to us through email, then it's fine. Then we will go through and also reply back to you.
Yeah, but before that, maybe we just discuss quickly one more thing. For example, you can see the next words which we have written: bibi, babu, mama, baba, mzee. These words are also very important for you to learn, because in Tanzania, you don't only call your biological parent or relative with those names. These are the respectful ways of calling anybody who could be the same age as your mom, dad, grandpa, grandma. So, for example, I had one interesting experience. When I was 17, I went to Great Britain, and I stayed with the host family. And then I really had a difficult time calling the parents by their names. So I just said, I will just call you mom and dad. And then for them, they said, well, how can you call someone who is not your parent with their with dad or mom? But in Tanzanian culture, if you call an older person who could be your mom or dad by their names, it's really disrespectful.
And I had exactly the other experience the other way around. It was really, really hard for me to call another person mama or baba who were not my parents. So there you see the difference of culture. Like for me and my family, calling another person mama or baba is really impolite. And I really had it once that I had a Skype call with my family, and my host dad was calling me, and I said, I'm coming, Baba. And my uncle got really, really upset. So, but yeah, whatever. These are different cultures. So, but here really in the Swahili language, when you approach someone, you cannot just say hello. You actually really approach that person with mama or baba, or for example, someone who is almost at the same age as you, and you can say dada, which means sister, or kaka, brother. So, and actually it makes it easier because you don't need to say sir or madam, for example, in English. So you just announce mama and baba, even if you don't know the name, or even maybe you forgot the name, you can just say mama baba or dada kaka, and you're still on the safe side.
All right, so that's it, I think, for the second lesson, this part of the greeting, unless if you have any question before we proceed to the next.
I'm sorry.
So you're welcome for any questions, ideas, or suggestions before we go to the introduction part.
No, thanks.
Okay. There are 3 different ways of introducing yourself or asking someone's name. The first one is who are you? Wewe ni nani? So wewe ni nani? It is a little bit tricky because it is not really the proper way asking someone who he is. It's kind of like also You can ask with this question even someone's position. So showing kind of a hierarchy. But if you just want to say, for example, wewe ni nani, you can say mimi ni Miriam. But I can also say mimi ni nurse, I'm a nurse. Or mimi ni mwalimu, I'm a teacher. So.
But also, for example, you could use it in a bit better or more polite way with starting by introducing yourself. For example, mimi na Adelina, na wewe?
Mimi ni Miriam. Or you can make it politer. For example, someone comes to you and is just starting a conversation with you, and you're looking at the person and thinking like, who is this? You can say, samahani, excuse me. Wewe ni nani? Who are you? So just like making the person aware that you don't want to be impolite or something, or that he's not perceiving it in a negative way. So just like remembering you like, oh, I am Miriam. You remember me? We did this and this last week together, for example, or we met at that place. So here we wrote it down, for example, wewe ni nani? Who are you? Really asking the person directly. Maybe we can read it together in Swahili. Wewe ni nani?
Mimi ni Adelina. O mimi ni mwalimu.
Yeye ni nani?
Yeye ni Samira. O yeye ni Catherine. Au yeye ni mwalimu. Au yeye ni mwanafunzi.
With yeye is he or she. There is no difference in the gender. So you can use yeye as male for a male person, but also for a female person. So there's really no difference.
Yeah. So I just say, for example, yeye ni, she is,
Yes.
he is, but this can mean, of course, the person's name or the person's profession or
position. Yeah, exactly. So Adelina and me, we can ask you three, ninyi ni nani? Who are you, you all? For right now, because you are learning Swahili, Samira, Yana, and Catherine, you can answer, you can reply, sisi ni wanafunzi, we are students. But you can also ask, for example, we all sit together in a park and we see a group coming. And then we can ask, wow, ni nani? Who are they? Who are they? So those people who are not present with us. And then Yana, for example, is replying, wow, ni watoto. They are children, for example, from our neighbor.
Or wow ni watalii, for example, tourists.
Yes. Any questions about that?
Okay. And then we have a different way of asking or introducing yourself. That is, jina lako ni nani? What is your name? For example, jina lako ni nani?
Jina langu ni Miriam. Na wewe jina lako ni nani?
Jina langu ni Adelina. So with jina lako, it's very specific. It's specifically, this question specifically asks for your name. So you have to say what your name is and nothing more.
You cannot ask with it like a position or something. That is not proper. Or you can also not ask a profession with it.
No.
So. And you can also ask, for example, here we have like the teacher is asking her colleague what the student's name is. So it means the two teachers, they are standing together, but talking about a person who is not present, for example. So the teacher is asking, huyu jina lake ni nani?
Huyu jina lake ni Catherine, for example, I say. Or huyu jina lake ni Susan.
So her or his name, lake, is for her and his name. So also there is no difference in the gender. We did not add here the question, what is your name, like when there are several people, and then replying like our name is, because you don't really use this in the Swahili language. You mostly ask directly another person's name who's in front of you, or a third person who's not present. So, jina lako ni nani, and the third greeting, unaitwa nani, those are the most common introductions, like asking someone's name in Tanzania, actually. And it's a little bit depending in which region you stay. There are some regions where you mostly hear jina lako ni nani, and in other regions you only hear unaitwa nani. For example, here in Kilimanjaro region, most people use unaitwa nani, which is in English, who are you called? In German, it's the proper translation, wie heißt du? For example, I meet Adelina right now. We just met each other on the street. And then I will ask her, wewe unaitwa nani?
Ninaitwa Adelina. Na wewe?
Mimi ninaitwa Miriam. So here we were showing you, you see that we made several words in bold, and in brackets as well. Yeah. These are personal pronouns. Yes. For example, wewe means you, singular.
And then we also put in bold the, for example, here you see wewe, and then you is in bold as well. And here you come to Mimi, and ni is in bold. This is because
you can skip wewe and Mimi. So if you listen well, Adelina was not saying wewe unaitwa nani. She was just saying unaitwa nani, and she was also replying ninaitwa. She was not saying Mimi ninaitwa. So if someone of you has, I don't know, maybe someone of you learned Spanish. In Spanish, it's the same. The personal pronouns you can skip because the ending of each word, when you conjugate it, shows about which person you're talking about. So, but this we will come in our third lesson actually to explain it in more detail, how you conjugate it and the personal pronouns and everything. So we hope next week you're there as well for our third lesson. Yes. And here we have another example. For example, the first day at school, the teacher is introducing herself and asking their student's name. For example, I'm the teacher, I'm entering and saying, Hamjambo wanafunzi.
Hatujambo mwalimu.
Mimi ninaitwa mwalimu Miriam. Ninyi mnaitwa nani?
Mimi ninaitwa Adelina.
Mimi ninaitwa Anna. So here the teacher can ask several people how they are called, but they will never say sisi tunaitwa,
we are called, because they cannot all, everybody has their own names, because unaitwa nani really points to individuals.
Yes.
The individual names of each person in a group.
So it means every single person will reply Mimi ninaitwa. So you will never say we are called. Every single person will say I am called this way. However, it can happen that, for example, Adelina and me, we have a company, for example, together, or we started a group together. Then we can say we as a group, we are called this way, and then it means sisi tunaitwa. But it means there are several people behind this group. It's not a personal name for it. Yes. Any questions so far? So what this means is you can choose You can choose an internship of your choice, like of your department which you like, for example, social work, psychology, or for example, law, or in other departments we are also placed. And then you get one of your program, and you get a supervisor in the country. So for example, is it here in Tanzania? Maybe you have you want to do an internship in social work, and you get a social worker of a project, and you will have a meeting with them, for example, a Skype meeting or WhatsApp call meeting, like doing online, and you get some assignments sent to you, which you have to read. So you do some home-based research, for example, and some assignments which we would do at home. And then you have a Skype call, for example, with your supervisor, where you go through the things and where he is mentoring you, like teaching you. So, and this is a schedule which you do with your supervisor. Those internships are like 3 weeks up to 12 weeks. You can book this. Adelina will send you the link in our chat right now. If you want to know more, you can just let us know about it. So, or you can have a look on the link, and then there you, yes, and there you can get further information about this.
Yeah, then you can basically still offer the online internships for university credits with qualified supervisors in different fields.